Everybody knows that I'm an action guy through and through, so when I heard that India was dropping yet another one of their 3-hour revenge epics with some serious star power behind it, I couldn't buy my ticket fast enough. So did the experience actually live up to all of the hype? Let's get into it. Coolie is the latest action-packed blockbuster out of India, and it's about a mysterious man taking a stand against a corrupt syndicate that's exploiting and abusing the workers of a quiet little port town. So I'm by no means an expert when it comes to Indian cinema or anything like that, but I've been making much more of a concerted effort to indulge in the big and loud, over-the-top action films that are coming out of that part of the world in the last couple of years. Movies like RRR, Kalki 2898 AD, and now here we are again with Coolie. And I was definitely excited for this one too, because from everything I've seen up to this point, these movies are what come the closest to replicating that signature style of all of those addicting 90s action films that I grew up on as a kid. They're extreme, they're vibrant, they're a little ridiculous, but with a couple of dance numbers thrown in there for good measure, obviously. That's pretty much non-negotiable. So when I sat down to watch this film, I wanted to see an intense and well-executed revenge tale that had all the right ingredients to keep me entertained from beginning to end. But unfortunately, Coolie fails to deliver a very memorable experience, despite having entertaining performances and some inspired camera work that happens along the way. When it comes to the story they decided to go with this time around, on the surface, it's a pretty straightforward and bare-bones revenge type of setup, and that's not necessarily a bad thing in these kinds of action films when you're really just trying to find different ways to make the fight sequences and the stunts take center stage. But as the plot goes on throughout the movie, they kind of overcomplicate things in a big way by trying to add an overly layered backstory and probably one too many twists down the stretch. Sometimes it's best to just keep things simple in a revenge story, because I felt myself getting a little less emotionally attached to everything that was going on as a result of how often a new relationship or a double cross was revealed as we got into the meat and potatoes of this narrative. There are definitely some elements of this script that had me engaged, though. I thought the characters were written pretty well, and I enjoyed the more witty dialogue from time to time, but the order in which these story threads are presented to us and how the overall puzzle was pieced together didn't make for the most intuitive viewing experience. Let's talk about the performances in this film, because apparently there are a lot of really exciting actors making up the cast of this movie from front to back, and it seems like the main draw here is none other than our leading man, Rajinikanth. I mean, the guy's taken part in a whopping 170 movies spanning across the last 5 decades. He seems like a complete living legend if there ever was one, and it makes sense why he's had such a successful career, because he's super charismatic, and I felt myself missing him whenever he wasn't on screen. Nagarjuna is our villain this time around, and he's definitely a highlight within the cast. He comes off as pretty menacing and has that unpredictable quality about him where you have no clue how he's going to react to certain developments, which is exactly what I want to see in my action movie villains. And a couple of other big names pop up throughout the movie. Amir Khan has a cameo towards the end, and even though he's kind of just shoehorned in there for extra star power, he still makes the most of his limited screen time. But I seriously don't know what's in the water over there in India, because all of these dudes look way younger than they have any right to, especially when you find out how old they actually are. I'm just jealous more than anything else, honestly. Lokesh Kanagaraj is our director here, so we need to spend some time talking about all of the action that's jam-packed into this movie, because that's really what you're signing up for when you buy a ticket for a balls-to-the-wall blockbuster like this. And I'm always curious how they're going to make some of the fight scenes work in a project where you center the majority of the action around a guy who's in his mid-70s. I mean, is it going to look like he needs to take a nap in between punches, or are we going to believe that he's an ass-kicking force to be reckoned with? And there are a couple of cool sequences throughout the long runtime, but not absolutely everything works here. Our main character displays plenty of charisma and effort during all those moments, but at the end of the day, the action just would have looked a lot different and cleaner if it were centered around a younger actor. The music, lighting, and camera angles all definitely elevate the experience a little bit, but the vast majority of the big fight scenes are pretty choppy and utilize more slow-mo than a Zack Snyder film, and that's saying something. Overall, guys, Coolie has me split right down the middle. Even though the performances are entertaining and the camera work is thrilling at times, the uneven pacing and lackluster action really left a lot to be desired. Rajinikanth does the best with what he's given, and it's easy to see why he's such a beloved movie star as he dishes out those emotional and charismatic moments here, but the story just keeps getting in its own way at every turn, preventing this movie from offering up a worthwhile and engaging experience. Coolie gets a Sully score of 2.5 stars. So that's my review of the latest movie out of India. What's your favorite recent film from that part of the world? Boring answer, but I have to go with RRR. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys at the next one.